Hey y'all, listen, I gotta get my days right. Happy Wednesday. Okay, yesterday Diddy had me all messed up. I was saying it was Monday and it was Tuesday. Well, happy Wednesday, y'all. Welcome into the building. I'm glad y'all spending some time with me. Thanks for being here. Shout out to all my mods out there on the platform. Handle the platform for me, because y'all got to hold it down, and I do appreciate each and every one of y'all. Lord, let's get into it. It's trending topics. And the title is Hell on Earth. Hell on Earth. You know, it was shocking when we heard on Monday that Diddy got arrested. And not only did he get arrested, he was denied bail the next day. So his lawyer was talking all this junk. Lawyer said, I got this. We're going to say this, that, and the other. And we're going to handle it. Well, he came out the courtroom today with the walk of shame, because not only did he not handle it, because his client, Sean Diddy Combs, got denied bail, but he also got his client in one of the worst jails in New York City. Now, where they do that at? You getting paid all this money. You told Sean Combs, sit back, lay back, don't worry, because I know this city. He told the people this ain't his first rodeo. He been down this road before. And some other lawyers said he made some cardinal mistakes in that courtroom when it came to the video of Diddy being seen beating on Cassie. So they offered everything but the kitchen sink. They offered up Star Island, which is about worth $48 million. They offered up Mama Combs' house. Well, Mama Combs got saved because bail was denied. Not you was going to have Mama Combs out on the streets. They offered up Mama Combs' home. He gave in all the passports, his and the kids, and Baby Love passport. Now, where was Baby Love going to flee to? He gave up all the passports. He said that he will have no females come to his house. Well, the female thing was kind of a joke, right? Because a lot of the FOs, anyway, I'm going to carry on. But he said, no females would come to my house. He was so desperate, he said, I will give up electronics. Now, we all know, can't nobody live without their electronics these days. These people sleep with them next to their bed like this. Yeah, they do. These people go to sleep with the phone in their hand. They wake up with the phone in their hand. And if they don't know where their phone is, they're going into detox and they're losing their natural mind. He said he'd give up the phone. He said he'll shut down the internet in his home. He said he will have security watch him 24/7. And won't nobody come to that island but his kids, his mama and them, and his baby mothers. He said, other than that, I won't. They still said no. They say he's a flight risk. They say he got planes, access, and money. and they're afraid he'll just run. They say he's danger to society. They denied it. Now, it's going to be interesting. I'm going to give it the next 48 to 72 hours. By his own admission, watch the words, please, that you put in the chat. But Freedom 557, you are correct. You are correct. People that unalive people get bail. But we're going to carry on. So, out of his own words and his lawyer's mouth, so I don't have to say alleged, Diddy is highly addicted to substances. And, you know, people will have heart attacks, strokes, and all kind of stuff going through detox when it's voluntarily. Imagine going through detox in an involuntary way because you in jail. I'm thinking 48, what's today? Wednesday? 48, 72 hours max. He's going to be in some type of medical facility. Because not only is his body used to substances on a high level, but even if, let's just say in jail, they could get him to lose something, they ain't going to be able to supply what his body is used to. His body is used to allegedly a celebrity cocktail. He liked the pink cocoa because, again, you know you come into the city to get locked down and you come with this, all this stuff is in your hotel room. Where they do that at? So that means he can't last 2.2 seconds without a substance. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, Savannah, I'm thinking by Saturday, he definitely going to need medical attention. I can't, and I'm wondering if he's going to make it this Saturday. But they said that place is horrific. The conditions in there are horrific. So many people are saying, you know, that's his karma. He's hell on, they said that's hell on earth in there. The conditions are horrific. We're going to talk about it, but his lawyer failed him. I would be asking that lawyer, can I get a 50% refund something? Because you told me you got this. That's why Diddy was running around New York and Central Park just chilling, taking pictures with the people because he thinking, my lawyer got me. We're going to go through this arraignment. You know, I'm going to say the judge not guilty, and I'm going to go back home to Miami, to Star Island, waiting trial. But he messed around and found out, and so did his lawyer. So the other day when he first got denied bail, the lawyer came, did a press conference. The people was able to ask him questions. He sat up strong and tall, and he was answering them. He was talking cash money junk. Today when he came out the courtroom, he said a couple words, and he said no questions. He better go and do his homework. I probably could have represented Diddy and I didn't even go to law school. What you doing, sir? And then you didn't even, at least if your client was going to be locked up, negotiate that he be in the jail that's safe. But you got him in the jail that is labeled hell on earth. Was his lawyer indirectly working with the prosecutors? What's going on? We're going to talk about it, though. Then we're going to talk about his house manager. We read the indictment the other day, and they kept saying in there something about the highly something skilled supervised personnel. They said his house manager is a piece of work. They said the house manager facilitated a lot, and she was the master manipulator. So I'm just wondering, I'm just curious. They know about the house manager. Thank you, Claire. They know about this one. They know about that one. They know about so forth and so on. Why aren't some of these other people locked up? They claimed the house manager was the facilitator, the orchestrator, the one. She probably had a little blueprint for the people to hand out when new workers came. She probably, here you go, here you go. This is the list. Make sure some lubricant there, the lighting as well. We got all the phones, so we're going to record. All the S workers are there. This one is there. You got sheets, so you can change the bed when necessary. And then you text me when you want the IV therapist to show up because it's all over and done, and y'all need to be replenished. They claim that these things lasted for days. Let me carry on. And then I'm going to do a follow-up story. You remember this Atlantic City mayor? I want to say New Jersey. Am I right with that? I think it's New Jersey. Atlantic City mayor. And he claimed, the daughter claimed abuse by the mother and father. And he's an arrogant mayor too. Arrogant. He was like, ain't nobody touched my daughter. Nothing's going to happen. This is a private matter, and y'all can mind your business. Well, now him and his wife was charged. But the crazy thing is, he gets to still be the mayor of the town. Justice in this world is crazy. In one part of the town, I could be accused of beating down my daughter, and I'm the mayor of the city, and I can still remain in my position even though I'm charged with this horrific crime. In another part of the world, I could be indicted for all kind of stuff, but I'm still free, and I could run to be president. You're working with me? Then another part of the world, I haven't been proven guilty yet. They won't give me bail. And I'm in the worst jail known to mankind. That's the justice for you. Yeah. You're a felon and you can run for president, but I'm being accused, and we're supposed to be in the land of innocent until proven guilty. I offer you my house, my mother, my sister, my dog, my cat, my phone, and you like, no. They're paying him. And you said you are really caring for Diddy. No, Tara, let's get it straight. Diva care about justice. I don't know Diddy. And I tell y'all all the time when I do stories over here, I don't know these people. I don't know anybody adjacent to them. None of that. I don't know these people. I don't care for Diddy. Diddy ain't my cousin or nothing like that. I'm talking about, come on, Freedom 57. I'm 557. I'm talking about justice. The justice ain't equal. You got the mayor of Atlantic City and his wife accused of abusing their daughter, and he's still the mayor. So if you're the mayor, you can hit on your daughter. Are you going to care if anybody in the town is doing anything to their kids? You're the mayor. You're the president. You got convicted. You owe people judgments, all kind of stuff. But you can run for president. And the best you got out of that is I'm really caring for Diddy. I don't give a darn about Diddy. If Diddy did the crime, he needs to do the time. But we got to do justice the right way. Yeah, this is crazy. It's a shame. But we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about this man. The man's literally sitting there. He gaslighting us. He all gangster talking about, oh, this is a family matter. No, sir. You a whole criminal if you abusing your daughter. And no, we should not have you standing here before us running the city and you a whole criminal. But that's what we do in this world. We decide the public opinion. If I don't like you, you should rot up underneath the jail. If I like you, you need to get justice the right way. And if I like you, then we can do you proven innocent until proven guilty. If I don't like you, then you know what? You can die in jail and we could care less. Where did they do it? And if we really wanted justice in this Diddy case, we would tell them, bring in all the people on those tapes that you know enabled the situation. Bring them on in. Dawn Richards said that a security guard threw her up in the car. Well, let's get the security guard cleaned up too. That's kidnapping. That's forcing somebody. But no, we want to focus on the 1,000 bottles of lubricant. Well, I won't be distracted, okay? There's a ton of people every day. Listen, it ain't my cup of tea, but there's a ton of people every day. They having these orgies. Let's get into it. Y'all know what I need in the chat. I need a what, y'all? I need a choo-choo. All aboard, everybody. It is Wednesday night trending topics, and we got stuff to talk about. Hell on earth, because that's the name of the detention center in which they is holding Sean Diddy Combs, okay? I feel bad. I say this to you all the time, and I'm going to get over it, I guess, soon and eventually. My heart breaks for the children. They walked in the court with their head down. They walked out the court with their head down. Because I also think they were not prepared for this situation. Why? Because the lawyer had them all thinking, we got this. We're going to talk about the house manager. We're going to talk about the mayor. Let me bring the people on in the building, okay? Hey, Katrina. Hey, Savannah. Hey, Felicia. Hey, Dustin. Hey, Tony.
Hey, Diva.
Julius and Mr. Houston. Everybody mute. I'm getting a little feedback.
Sorry about that, Diva.
Okay. Everybody mute. Okay, getting a little feedback, but there we go. Oh my God, Kitty said his sons was in on it. Good God. Kitty, you gonna have me pass out over here. Don't do that, Kitty. Don't do that. No. Christian Combs, Justin Combs, and Quincy, they're all a victim of the environment. Kitty, don't do that. You're gonna have me fall out. Somebody gonna have to come over here and resuscitate me. Not the kids, okay? So let's get into this whole, you know what I'll first do? Let's get this one out the way. Let's go ahead and start out with this mayor, okay? We're going to start out with this mayor. He's a little arrogant behind, thinking, you know what, so what? I could touch my kid and I could still service the people. I mean, where they do this at? Hold on one second.
Mayor Marty Small and his wife LaQuetta, the city's superintendent of schools, have both been indicted. The two are facing child endangerment charges tonight. Prosecutors say they allegedly beat their teenage daughter on numerous occasions. Action News reporter Walter Perez has the details.
A grand jury handed up an indictment alleging that Atlantic City Mayor Marty Small and his wife LaQuetta, who is superintendent of Atlantic City Public Schools, physically and mentally abused their 15-year-old daughter repeatedly between December of last year and January of this year. And the alleged motive was their disapproval of their daughter's boyfriend. But the Smalls' attorney, Ed Jacobs, tells Action News they are eager to defend themselves in court.
We deny the allegations because they're untrue. They've done nothing wrong as a mom or a dad. So at the end of the line, they will be exonerated.
A statement from the prosecutor's office reads in part that Smalls hit his daughter multiple times in the head with a broom, causing her to lose consciousness, and that Smalls continuously threatened to hurt her by earth slamming her down the stairs during an argument. Regardless, Jacobs says this legal tangle will have no effect on Smalls' status as mayor.
Since the day he was inaugurated as mayor, Mayor Small's done a great job for the citizens of Atlantic City, and the people know it. This indictment has nothing to do with anything of public interest.
We asked people here in Atlantic City for their thoughts about the accusations.
It's bad. Matter of fact, it's very much bad.
If he's found guilty, then he should resign. I'm sure that would be the final part of it, if that's true. Hope is not true.
He don't do nothing for this city. He don't do nothing for this city.
They wrong or right, let the court decide or public decide. If public is in favor, they're gonna protect him.
Walter Perez, Channel 6 Action News.
Okay. Let the public decide. All right. But he's staying on his post, okay? So hold on 1 second. Let me just bring up a little bit more. It's Atlantic City, New Jersey, everybody. So Atlantic City mayor and wife indicted for alleged child abuse. Atlantic City Mayor Marty Small Sr. and his wife, who is the city superintendent of schools. So she over kids. She don't even treat her kid right, but she's the superintendent of the schools. Face criminal charges for allegedly abusing their teenage daughter, local prosecutors announced on Wednesday. According to the Atlantic City County Prosecutor's Office, Small Sr. and Laquetta Small physically assaulted their daughter, who was 15 to 16 years old, during the time of the alleged abuse. The indictment follows charges against the couple earlier this year. Reached by phone, Small deferred comment to his attorney, who did not immediately respond to the request. In one instance in January 2024, according to prosecutors, Small Sr. beat his daughter in the head with a broom multiple times until she lost consciousness. In another instance, prosecutor says Small Sr. threatened to earth slam her down the stairs. This is his daughter. A release from local prosecutor said Small Sr. smacked the weave out of her head. This is what he did to his daughter. Prosecutors allege that Laquetta Small also engaged in abuse, saying that she punched her daughter multiple times on her chest, leaving bruises, and beat her with a belt. In another instance, prosecutor says that Laquetta Small punched her daughter in the mouth. Small Sr. is the latest Atlantic City elected official to face criminal charges. The below the seaside gambling mecca has seen its politicians face indictments and even prison sentences. Small Sr. predecessor Frank Gillum pleaded guilty to stealing $86,000 from a youth basketball club he founded. In a related case, Atlantic City High School principal Constance Day Chapman was indicted last week on official misconduct and child endangerment for allegedly not notifying child welfare officials of the alleged abuse. Days Chapman is a friend of the Smalls, and Laquetta Small is Days Chapman's boss. So this is a whole hot mess. Yeah, he should resign. He should resign. Katrina, your thoughts?
Now, David, you know I believe in discipline, but that's way too much. That's way too much. Both of them, and then she's over a school. She's over kids, and she's punching her child in her chest. Now, I believe in discipline. I believe in discipline in the right way, and that's overboard. They both are a bunch of crooks. Both of their tail needs to be in jail. He don't need to be no mayor of nobody. How you gonna be a mayor of the people when you can't even be a father to your child? You abusing your child. That's way too much. Somebody need to go side his head with the broom handle and see how he like it. Push him downstairs, slap his weed out his head. Put some weave on his head, then slap it out. I'm just saying that's just totally, totally ridiculous. And for her to stand around and allow him to do that to his daughter, that's a shame. So what he doing to her? What is he doing to the wife? And for her to let the man do this to her daughter, to their child. Yes, you know, teenagers have a lot of mouth. Being raised teenagers, we know how it go. Especially when they when they be smelling themselves around boys. But that's a limit. Punishment, take something away, take phones away, take computers away. But hitting somebody side the head with a broom handle and punching them in their chest and stuff like that, no, I don't agree with that. Both of them need to be locked up. She don't need to be over no schools, and he don't need to be over no city. Both of them criminals. Both of them need to be in jail somewhere. That's all I got, Diva.
I appreciate you. Savannah, you're up.
Diva, I'm struggling to get that smug look that the mother had on her face, with no show of emotion or regard for what really is going on. They both think that they are untouchable. I'm reading up on them. You know, they have the backing of church leaders in their community. Chief of police also. She's a Soro, a Delta. So she and he are like, they have all these organizations coming out and speaking on their character as being upheld citizens. I also see that this mayor, and maybe Felicia can go into a little bit more, was charged with election fraud in 2006 and again in 2011. Something about something in regards to the ballots. Although he was acquitted on both, there was still enough evidence to see that something was going on. And the only reason he became mayor was because Frank Gillum was caught up in his scandal, which this Small was next in line. So they've been milking and I remember Atlantic City being a very thriving casino rich city. But when you have people like this mayor and his wife, and even Donald Trump, who bankrupt that city and made it what it is today, a city that's struggling in a ghost town, it's heartbreaking. I recall us talking about this story months ago, and I just hope that the young lady and the boyfriend have video evidence to prove all these adults and leaders of these organizations wrong that do not believe or protect the children. So that's unfortunate, and I'm hoping that the young lady has evidence this time.
I appreciate you. Tony M., you're up.
Thank you, Diva. If true and there's a conviction, both the mayor and his wife should resign their post.
Mm-hmm.
And I also want to touch on what Savannah just mentioned about the Donald Trump bankrupting the city.
Mm-hmm.
He did. And it's a fact, he had bankrupt to the tune of $915 million. And the city has not recovered to this day. And that was like over 30 years ago, in the early 90s. So to have one previous corrupt mayor followed up by another one is not helping the citizens of Atlantic City.
Right.
So that's all I wanted to say.
I appreciate you. Dustin, you're up.
I think he should step down. I don't think he should. I think he should step down 110%. I don't think a person like that should be the mayor either.
I appreciate you. Thank you, Dustin. Felicia, you're up.
Well, hey, hi everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. Yeah, we remember Marty. Some of us who were here then remember Marty had a crutch or something, and he went and beat his fiance over the head with the crutch. Well, baby, justice has come. He got indicted. For those of you who've been listening, they're cleaning up these streets. They're cleaning them up, and we need he and his wife. And I forget. I think it's the sister-in-law. It's the daughter's aunt. She's got something to do with what is it again? Social work? What is it?
Social services.
Yeah. And she knew that this situation was ongoing.
Mm-hmm. Child protective services.
Yeah, exactly. And there was nothing that nobody could really do about it, she said. Well, some honorable, decent person said, okay, enough is enough. Let's charge them. So they're charging them both together. I don't know who's going to finish raising the children, because based on how things go, we don't know who really going to the jail these days and on what charges. But I do recall that she does have video, because remember the boyfriend had told her to show this video. So I continue to pray for her, that she stays brave and courageous. and knows that better days are coming for her. I'm done.
Thank you. Tay, you're up.
I said lock the mom and the dad up. Lock the key forever. How dare you put your hands on this girl right here? You supposed to be the parent. You the one posting what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong. And what's wrong was you punched a girl in the chest, you pull her hair, all that stuff. Why? Because she got a boyfriend? And that's what it is? Because she got a boyfriend. Like I said before, Diva, something ain't right in the waters over there. And like I said before, they're trying to protect their reputation because they are like a good parents over there. No, they're not. You see that little smirk they had, the parents, that little smirk right there? I don't believe the parents at all. I really don't. I hope the daughter get justice for her. That's all, Diva.
Thank you. Julius, you're up.
Lock them both up and let's hope they don't drop the soap, because shoot, they'll be turned out real quick and have a boyfriend and a girlfriend. So all that abuse that they put their daughter through, you know what? They'll get dealt with behind bars, because we all know them inmates in there, they don't take too kindly to that. So lock them up. They'll be dealt with accordingly. That's it. That's all.
Thank you. Mr. Hobson, you're up.
Good evening, everybody. This is just sad. It's like, I feel like the mother and father, I think they really in their minds feel like they're going to probably get off because of their influence in Atlantic City. You know, they got the church on their side. They probably got high business people in the city of Atlantic City on their side, whatever. It's kind of unfortunately a split situation, because you have people who really probably stand on business in terms of that is abuse and you should be dealt with accordingly. And if accordingly you lose your position, so be it. It's a little thing called karma. You can't do things like that and then you can get away with it. Then, like this one guy said in the interview, like, let the court figure it out. He a good mayor, blah, 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 blah. And if it comes out that he did do it, then so it's kind of split. But I feel that they both, if the allegations are correct, y'all should go to jail and y'all both should lose your positions. That's all.
Thank you. I appreciate you. E, you're up. The daughter's about 16 because it happened when she was between the 15, 16 age. She might be 17 now. But go ahead, E, you're up.
I missed I missed the story, but if this is the one with the girl who had the boyfriend who was pregnant, I
didn't remember her being pregnant, E, but it's definitely the one that she definitely had a boyfriend.
And the parents didn't want her to be with the boyfriend. And the boyfriend, I was in the middle on that one. I don't know how to get into it. On one hand, we want people to discipline their children. And I didn't miss the beginning, but I do think on one hand, we want people to discipline their children. And then when kids are out of control, then we wonder, why the hell are they? And so I missed the beginning. I can't comment, but if that's the same story that I'm thinking of, I thought it was blame to go around on all sides. So skip me on this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna skip you on this one because I think people get the wrong idea about disciplining and talking to your kids. I don't know where the idea of, and this is in general, I'm just not, I'm not talking to anybody, I'm talking in general. I don't know where the idea came from that discipline is only like you got to put your hands on the child. I don't know where that came from. So this is excessive. When you using the broom, when you knocking the weave off her head, when you punching her in the chest, that is not in the chest. That is not discipline. That is abuse. It is insane. It is crazy. To the point where the one family member that worked in the school knew that it was abusive and she didn't report it, and now she's on the unemployment line.
You know, I hear that, and I do think there is a such thing as excessive force. Believe me, I do. And I also think that I would like to hope that people just don't start out that way. I don't know why, but the way that I'm remembering the story, I thought that the boyfriend had been getting slick at the mouth with the parents. It had been some bickering back and forth. And yes, these are seemingly well-to-do people with prestigious positions, but I I need more background information because unless they are ticky boom in the head, I just can't see why somebody would just pick up a broomstick and just start hitting you with it unless there's really something wrong with them. I need more information.
Well, let me work with you on this. See, Lakeisha, hold on one second. Lakeisha, Black people, we carry this horrible side effects when say, well, every time someone is out of control, they say beat them. Yeah, I don't get that. So let me ask you
Well,
this.
hold on. I never said beat them. And so for me, there are certain instances where children will run amok in the community. Children have been stealing cars at 11 years old. Children have been disrespectful and pulling pow-pows on their teachers. There is a certain time where I do feel like, wait a minute, you know what? Talking is not going to do the trick. So you know, Diva, I know it's me and you having the conversation, but I want people in the chat to be clear. Don't try to hit me with the hocus pocus and going back to slavery mindset and beating on the kids. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is that sometimes people have to get a little bit creative because from what I've been seeing, and I'm not the only person who feels this way, a lot of these children are running their households, and a lot of these children have their parents afraid of them. That's what I'm saying. So because I missed that story, I probably shouldn't have even commented. But I don't need to hear any history lessons about slavery.
Right. And Lakeisha says she's not coming for you. She's talking in general.
No, I love you, Lakeisha.
Yeah. So, but what I'm saying is, let's back up. Let me just clear this up. Do we need to hear the story as to is there any reason why a father should pick up a broom, knock his daughter unconscious, knock her weave off her head, and the mother is punching you in the chest? Do we need to hear a backstory behind why the mother and father seems to be beating up on their child?
I do.
So there would be a story in a situation where that scenario would be acceptable?
I'm not saying it's acceptable. I said that it was blame to be had all the way around. But I want to know what made them do that. I want to know. Yes, it matters to me.
I'm thinking that she was going with his boyfriend and she probably was talking back. But how hard is you hitting a girl to knock her weave out? Because most weave is glued in or sewed in, unless she was wearing a weave.
He knocked her unconscious. You know, I gotta move on to these other stories, but I'm confused. To me, there is no scenario on the face of this earth where you should be knocking your kid unconscious with a broom, knocking the weave off their head, and punching them in the chest. I can't connect on no way, shape, or form whether she had a boyfriend, 3 boyfriends, whether she came home pregnant. I will not understand and be able to wrap my mind around how that would be okay, even if she was coming out the side of her mouth smart to you.
That's my point.
Honestly,
because it's so bizarre and so unusual. That's why I want to hear. I want to hear the full story. I'm not saying that it's right, but I want to know the reason. I need the full story.
I got issue with. I'm from the school of. I was born in '82, and I come from the school of hard discipline. Not getting knocked down those stairs or your weave knocked out of your head, obviously. But I come from the school where, for example, in a household where there's boys and girls, mama and daddy, typically mama would deal with the girls especially if it had to be some type of physical, reprimand, and the father will deal with the boys. So first and foremost, a man, whether that's your daughter or not, going upside your daughter's head in that manner is unacceptable, period. I know that's your child, but you're still a man at the end of the day, and she's a girl. That's all.
Yeah, we gotta move on because
Yeah.
I thank you. I agree, Diva. And this is a grown man fighting a girl like a man on the street. He busting his daughter upside the head with a broom to the point where she's unconscious. There's nothing in this world that this girl could have did that you got to bust upside the head with a broom till she's unconscious. I just don't get it. And he's arrogant about it too. Talking about it's a family matter. No, sir, it's a criminal matter now.
Mm-hmm.
It's a criminal matter now. It just don't make sense to me. And then the mother, you busting her in the chest. And this is who y'all raised. So everybody in the household need help. And yeah, they do have a son too. We're going to move on to the next story. I appreciate everybody's comments. I'll stay connected with that. So we'll see if he will continue to be mayor of the city. You know, speaking of this man is the mayor. And it takes me back to that story with the judge and the girl falling asleep in the courtroom. And the judge thought it was okay to talk to her all kind of sideways, put her in handcuffs. This nonsense has got to stop. I don't know where all this aggression comes from, where we think we could just treat anybody any old kind of way. But you know what? It's funny because we're about to do Diddy next. This is funny. On these low levels like this, the aggression is acceptable. But then when it gets to the point of Diddy, where do you think Diddy started? You think he started on that high level? Then when it gets to the point of Diddy, we want to call he's a monster. He needs to be locked up. But the man, we want to ask questions. We need the backstory.
No, we asked questions with Diddy too. At the beginning, lots of people asked questions. They didn't remember. You said it yourself, Diva. People didn't believe it until they saw the video. People always ask questions. I'm pro asking questions.
I ain't mad at you.
I love you.
I love you back. Listen, welcome in the building. The people love you too. Okay. Listen, let's go into this story. I guess I will. Let me back into this, right? Because the piece. Let me see which part of this story where I'm going to start. You know what? Let's start with this house manager. Because in the last story we just did, the wife's an enabler. The whole thing is a mess. Because I wish my husband would put his hand on my daughter like that, busting her upside the head with a broom. But anyway, we're going to carry on in the next story. So in the indictment, when we read it, they said, see, they kill me. It's like selective indictment, right? Selective who's going to go to jail and not going to go to jail. Because in some cases, they want to name names. In other cases, they just want to name titles, so to speak. The security guard. No, y'all know the name. Say the name. Say their name. Oh, the high level managers. No, say their names. You know who these people are. Y'all been investigating for darn near a year and y'all don't got no names. Okay. There was over 50 witnesses and we can't get no names. But let's talk about this one right here. Let's talk about who they want to protect, not protect, and who they want to throw in, the jail that's called hell on earth, and who can remain free. So meet Sean Diddy Combs' manipulator in chief, who was once compared to Ghislaine Maxwell, okay? So Sean Diddy Combs once called his Combs Enterprise chief of staff, Christina, his right hand, but a source close to the federal sex trafficking investigation into him believes she is more his manipulator in chief. If anybody is a gatekeeper, Christina would know everything. The source added to the post. High-ranking supervisors. So they got that title from the indictment. In the indictment, they're calling Sean Combs' situation the Combs Enterprise. So They're liking his situation to the mob, okay, stuff like that. So they're calling it the Combs Enterprise. And they're saying that girlfriend right here, she was the leader of the pack. She was one of these high-ranking supervisors, okay, were flagged in the 3-count federal indictment charging Combs with sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in P on Tuesday, a day after the 54-year-old hip-hop mogul was arrested by Homeland Security agents at the New York City hotel. Combs has pleaded not guilty to the charges, but remains in custody on a judge order after a $50 million bail bid was rejected. Now, Christina has not been arrested or charged with anything. Now, she was the house manager. They said she's the gatekeeper. They said she the one to tell the people how to go set up the rooms for these FO parties. She allegedly helped, bring the money, the lubricant, and everything else, the clean sheets. So if anybody's a gatekeeper, Christina would know everything, the source added to the post. According to the indictment, Combs is alleged to have used certain employees, including high-ranking supervisors, to carry out, facilitate, and cover up his abuse and commercial sex ring. And they saying that's the girl right there. All right. According to the indictment, Combs is alleged to have used certain employees, including a high-ranking supervisor, to carry out, facilitate, and cover up his abuse, commercial sex ring, although none of his employees were named in the papers. Well, ain't that convenient? Y'all saying the employees are co-conspirators, but you name none of the employees in the paperwork. Selective justice. The supervisors facilitated sexual performances dubbed freak-offs, according to the indictment, which included S-workers and stocking the hotel rooms in advance with the required freak-off supplies, including controlled substances, baby oil lubricant, extra linens, and lighting. During raids at Diddy mansions earlier this year, narcotics and more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant were seized by federal agents. The feds have got evidence from a lot of sources, recording text messages, names, texts from Christina. So they got texts from her, so they know her name, but instead in the indictment, they just said a high-ranking supervisor. Y'all got her name. Is she on your side now? Is she going to be a witness? There she go again. That's when they knew that the gig was up. This picture right here. That was better times right there. Probably preparing for allegedly a FO party, and that's done when they knew the gig was up. Okay? And that's the little Rodney right there. So Christina did not return the post request for a comment Tuesday. In 2021, Diddy had posted about her on Facebook saying she's been my right hand for the last 8 years and has consistently proven to execute and get stuff done. Don't know how I function without her. That's Diddy words. Letting the people know that's my girl. She does everything. She just get it done. Go pick her up. That fed the other day, he want to tell the people, dial this phone number. No, y'all got her name. Go get her. In the lawsuit separate from the federal investigation filed by rapper Lil Rod in February, Christina, 37, was described as the Ghislaine Maxwell to Sean Combs' Jeffrey Epstein, a reference to the notorious sex offender and has now imprisoned right-hand woman and accused of having ordered S-workers and prostitutes for him. Little Rodney, born Rodney Jones, also alleged in an amended complaint that Christina required Combs' domestic employees, including a butler, chef, and housekeepers, to carry a fanny pack with cocoa, GHB, ecstasy, Mary Jane gummies, and a pink, substance called Tushy, a combination of ecstasy and cocoa. So Combs could indulge in his substance of choice at any given time. Little Rodney said, y'all got this. When you're picking up Christine? Christine, according to Lil Rodney's suit, also knowingly and intentionally participated in, perpetrated, assisted, supported, facilitated a XT venture. As the chief of staff, Christina, according to Lil Ronnie Sue, was instrumental in organizing and executing the Racketeering and Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act enterprise that he claims Diddy was running. Look at Christine. Every picture you see her, she's smiling. She happy. Okay. Also, according to Lil Ronnie Sue, Christine had another employee, Stevie J. Okay. Recruit S workers to participate in the freak-offs. Little Ronnie suit is ongoing, but Diddy's lawyers have filed requests for it to be dismissed. Mr. Jones' lawsuit is pure fiction, a shameless attempt to create media hype and extract a quick settlement. Mr. Jones was not threatened, groomed, assaulted, or trafficked. We look forward to proving in the court of law that all of Mr. Jones' claims are made up and must be dismissed. Attorney Erica told the U.S. Today in August about the suit. Christina joined Bad Boy Entertainment as a senior executive in 2013 and became a manager for Diddy, the director office of the chairman of Combs Enterprises, according to her now deleted LinkedIn profile. She was appointed chief of staff in 2020. Christina might be cooperative, the source said, referring to the federal case against Diddy. At least if she's smart, she will be. Christina got her hands all tied up in this, but they just want to name her in the indictment as a high-ranking employee. Katrina, your thoughts?
She's cooperating with them. They didn't talk to her. She's cooperating with them because not she's been locked up as well. Like I said, all of them. The same thing as we go back to R. Kelly. How all these people are still out and R. Kelly is still in. The ones that were around R. Kelly need to be in jail too. The ones around Diddy need to be in jail too, along with Mama, because she was sporting them white fingernails tip too. She had white fingernail polish on. She's sitting up there kissing her son in the mouth. Like he can put her hands on the floor and bend over. Like, who wants to know that? Nobody want to see that. But I'm just saying, they all doing all this stuff and they getting away with it. Yeah, he the culprit, but he couldn't pull it off all by himself. He had helpers, he had handlers, and as you can see, he had somebody bringing in the baby oil. The reason why we couldn't get none, because they was getting it out. I'm just playing. But I'm just saying, the baby oil, the lubricants, whatever they doing in their freak offs or whatever they doing up in there. Then they had to get IV solution to just come back to reality. This is ridiculous and sad. All of them need to be locked up. Not just Diddy, the whole little crew. Stevie J, he most definitely need to be in there as well. I mean, just all of them. And Jay-Z, they coming for you too, so you might well stop hiding because they going to get you. That's all I got.
Savannah, your thoughts?
Diva, while I wholeheartedly agree that many more people need to be named and indicted as well, because Sean Combs did not run by himself for almost 3 decades, being a menace and a tyrant to society in 3 major cities. Being in South Florida, I know that it is no secret on how these parties that Sean Combs, especially during the 90s and 2000s, that Sean Combs threw, and how heavily they were attended by very high level officials, whether it was politicians, sports stars, or movie stars. It was always there was always a who's who in these parties. So that's absolutely no secret. But there's a lot of high money as well that needs to get their hands out of the pot right now, as they say, and they're going to be doing everything they can to make sure that they're not a part of his downfall. I know I listened carefully to what the U.S. attorney said. He also has a civil rights team looking at these incidents as well, because it's more than just what the videotape in Cassie Ventura. This is, I've said it from the beginning, this is about human trafficking Homeland Security, and this is also international and with underage children. So there's a reason why he's not getting out. So and he orchestrated a lot of these videos are coming up on events because for some reason, and I don't know what it is, these people are hell bent on recording everything, and he saved it, and the feds, they said they confiscated over 90 cell phones, 100 electronic devices, whether they were laptops, Amazon Echoes, and things like that. So there's plenty of evidence to support a lot of what they're saying, but I also know they're not telling us everything. Um, I just think we're just scratching the surface, and he like I do think he's not going to survive too much longer in there because he does require a certain level of medical attention, and he's a person that can't be contained. So Diddy's going to have it hard. Sean Combs is going to have it hard in there. He's in one of the toughest places in the United States, and that's something that he is not used to. So I think the lawyers are not handling his case correctly. Everything they talked about yesterday on the media by attacking Cassie and saying she physically attacked him first and trying to justify why he physically threw her down in that video. The judge used that against them today. So I don't think that they'll be his legal team much longer. I don't believe that they're handling it well. So this is just the beginning.
Just the beginning. Felicia, your thoughts?
Well, listen, I'm going to talk about this Christina because I'm with you, Diva. Her name was not in the indictment.
Come on now.
Her name was, in fact, if we could look at that indictment, the only name up there was Sean Combs, Diddy something, Love something, Bad Boys something. It was all Sean Combs. And yes, Damian Williams.
Somebody's typing. Who's that typing? Not on mute.
Damian Williams, the lawyer, the prosecutor for this matter, he said he need people to call and to call quickly. So don't play in my face, okay? Don't play in my face, because if she was cooperating, why he need people to call? He said this is who he's looking for, and he gave her job title. And he said, I need you to call and call quickly. And then today, I read a quote where he said that these people, they don't want him having to come for them because he's going to be pursuing criminal charges. Now, why is the prosecutor intimidating folks, sounding a little bit like Mr. Combs? What's going on here? So I had an opportunity to listen to a lot of the lawyers today, and they are saying that a lot is happening here, but many of them were citing that this indictment was not substantial enough nor timely enough, because as it was said, this dropped in November, and this Cassie Ventura complaint was in November, and this indictment as of yesterday and further added on to today was about Cassie Ventura. She is victim number one in the citation of clause number 2. There wasn't any other victim numbered as of yet. And so that was the core of the discussion. So you knew everything from her complaint in November. Why did it take you so long to get to bringing in Mr. Combs on these charges? So I recall the other house manager did time. I'm sorry, I can't remember her name, but she quietly did time. She was convicted of some kind of racketeering and money laundering and so forth and so on. She quietly did her time and moved along. So maybe the one who came behind her, this Christine, maybe she figured out how not to have that happen. But to be very honest, if I had a job where I was supposed to go into a room after people have done all kind of stuff and broke stuff and stuff was all over the place. I certainly, if they said to me, listen, we're going to pay you $50 an hour to go clean up behind these people, you know, you might run into some, you know, some Uggs, you might run into some, and I go in there and I do the job, okay? And now you're going to tell me 3 years later I engage in criminal activity? Now, this is scary. This is scary. I went to the Intercontinental Hotel and I was up there cleaning up one of the suites with about 4 other people. There wasn't a dead body on the carpet. I didn't see an outline of somebody missing or yellow tape. The room was just a mess. But according to Damian Williams, if you did that job, even transporting whatever additional things that were asked for, you can be charged. So for all the folks who went to a white party and was glad to be there, for all the folks who went to a listening party and you was glad to be there, if you were hired, if you was an employee, if you went to a party, everybody is vulnerable. Everybody.
And they said that today too.
That's right, because they need y'all to come forward. So dial that number, everybody.
Yeah, they sure did. They said that today too. They said if you just simply was cleaning up. Now, because I went there to clean up. And, you know, this, they're sticking 10 toes down on the fact that no one knew they was being taped. Because I'm a logical person, not psychic. I just like to, you know, use my brain. Didn't go to Harvard, didn't go to Yale. But after a while, a lot of these people that went to these FOs were repeated people in the towns, in the certain towns that they went to. Little Rodney said it himself. This is not Diva making this up or putting 2110. Little Rodney said that Diddy told him to put on a hat that said bad boy, go to XYZ club, and when you walk in with that hat on, they're going to know that I'm in town. Little Rodney said this. We did the case over here. This ain't Diva making this up. So after a while, if you know about Diddy's parties, and they said that he showed videos and he intimidate people with videos or whatever, you mean to tell me for 10 to 20 to 30 years straight, nobody knew these things was being taped? It was all being taped secretly? If they said you got to go set up the room with the lighting, what was lighting being set up for? So we could film and we could videotape. Are y'all working with me? Like, it just, some of this stuff, they're trying to make it so it can fit into the package that they want. But if you use your brain and you think about it, you like, something about this don't sound right and don't make sense. They was going in there setting up the lighting. A lot of these people were repeat FOers because they wanted that money that he was giving out. And they were confused and they didn't know that they was being taped. But you got ring lights all around the room. Why do I need a ring light to get busy? Julius, your thoughts?
Listen, if people are prepping a whole entire production, what you think they not gonna have the videotape hidden in the background in the clip? Like, come on. You know, folks say when they have malicious intentions, oh, we're not gonna videotape. Oh, we respect your privacy. Y'all, let me tell y'all, them folks don't care. Trust me, I was caught up in my real life experience. I told a person no, they was just like, oh no, we didn't. Yes, they did. But I made sure them things was deleted though. So let me tell you, these people who are Diddy like, they don't care. They are going to do what they want to do. And they are going to do what they want to do because they feel like it. So, if you think you're telling a person no, be prepared to go to the law. So while to the other people, if your offer is out there to have immunity from the prosecutor, you better, like I was always taught, you better go and sing like a canary to the highest choir. Go on now. Go on.
Thank you, Julius. Cardboard, they're litigating for the public first. I believe that. And they know the public that once you throw some installations out there, it's going to take off and they're going to run with it, right? And an example is this 1,000 bottles of lubricant. High cement is more than they currently have, in my opinion. Felicia, so this is my take on this whole, the people they were intoxicated, okay, and just out of their mind from the substances. Here's my take on that. The prosecutors, they saw these said videos. Another lawyer said, because I've been on the streets with Felicia today with this, another lawyer said they took all this time and they got, I think it was 14, 15 pages. They said they thought it would have been 100 at the very least. So they took all this time, they got 14 pages. And this is coming from a lawyer. This ain't Diva. This is coming from a lawyer. They said all this time they took, they thought this document would have been 100 pages. Just ripping us and hitting us and hitting us and hitting us with all the evidence, right? But it was 14. My thing is with if they saw videos, okay? So if they saw videos, you can tell when somebody seems out of it. But they're saying that he highly orchestrated these performances that would take. You do this, you do that, you flip over here, you touch this one, you touch that one. So which one do they want us to believe? And I believe if they were so, out of their mind and people were doing stuff to bodies that was just comatose, they would have told us that. Trust and believe they would have told us that. They would have said that, right? But they told us, this ain't Diva, they told us that he orchestrated and he filmed a lot of these FOs, right? So I'm drunk, I'm high, I'm both, but you told me, Diva, turn this way, do this, and I just do all these commands. Make that make sense? Tay, you're up.
Well, they got all the evidence over there until he proved he's guilty. Right there, Diva. And now his lawyer said, "Oh, we don't have no proof. They don't have no proof." Do you not see they had the popo came to his house that at the marsh right there? They did came to his house. That marsh right there. They had all the evidence right there. I want to say, Diva, hopefully he stay in jail forever. I just want this, this is just beginning right here, Diva. This is beginning. Let's see how long this gonna take. That's all, Diva.
It is the beginning. And his lawyer thinks he's going to get a fast and quick trial. But then other experts told us that this trial may not happen until the end of 2025. We shall see. But I think he's trying to talk to his client so his client can keep his head up. Terry, you are correct. So cameras come in many different forms, because I was with somebody on vacation this summer and they had a camera in their glasses. So let me be clear. I'm not saying that every video that was ever done, the person knew. Not saying that at all. Right. But what I am saying to you is that at some point, everybody in the industry knew about Diddy and his antics. And so they're going to say, hey, y'all going to a diva party? Well, let me tell you what I heard about a diva party. I heard they do this, that over there. I heard he be slipping stuff in the people's drinks. And I heard he be filming it and then showing it to everybody. 50 Cent told a story of Diddy showing him a video that allegedly it was Cassie, because he said, ain't that your girl? Cassie having relations with somebody. Now, 50 Cent ain't been no friend of Diddy for decades. So 50 Cent said he saw said video. So what I'm saying to y'all is, I don't doubt he did the videos, right? Because they said they got videos. But what I'm saying is, at some point, you know what you know about this man, and you still going to the FOs and you thinking you ain't getting taped or videotaped. Hey, at the white party, you getting taped. Stevie J showed us a video from his 50th birthday party with all the people, jamming. It's not unknown that this man films. And yes, everybody's telling me, well, Diva, filming somebody and they don't know is a crime. No kidding. No kidding. But I'm saying to you that I believe he got to the level where these people knew they was filming, because he would tell them, twist here, turn there, do this, do that, whatever the case may be. Where am I? Tony, you're up.
Thank you, Diva. It is a crime to film people not knowing that they are being filmed having sex.
Mm-hmm.
That is a felony. I believe that's a felony crime.
And hold on, Tony. Yes, it is. But guess what? It wasn't in the indictment. But continue.
Right. The reason why I think a lot of things weren't in the indictment is because U.S. Attorney Damian Williams isn't really interested in going after Christina. He's not interested in going after the low-level people. Remember that young man, the white young man who was the drug dealer?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
The drug mill. Brendan was his name.
Brendan.
At this point is also a witness. But go ahead.
Yeah, he's a witness, as long as including other facilitators. That's why I believe this Christina woman has not been charged, is because I believe she may have already flipped. But that will be revealed in time. That's why that drug mule, Brendan dude, hasn't been charged, because I too believe he has flipped. What I would suggest, though, is for Stevie J, David Lyles, who resigned, I think, yesterday or 2 days ago from his position because allegedly...
Kevin Lyles.
Yes, Mr. Lyles. He too allegedly may know too much information and may have been a co-facilitator, according to Dawn Richard, I believe. So I would suggest that they get lawyers and start lawyering up if they haven't turned state's evidence over to the U.S. Attorney's Office, because they can be indicted, but they can also be persuaded to testify in lieu of getting some type of immunity. That's also possible. I think they really are interested in going after Sean Combs. They want the big fish, the guy at the very top, because he's the ringleader. And I remember on I think it was my second or even my first panel with you, I had said, I look at some of the people, including Cassie, I'm not blaming Cassie, but I look at some of these people side-eyed. Why did you stay when you could have just simply walked away and left and maybe deferred your dream to go somewhere else to, start your music career? And the reason why I bring that up is because this went on for decades. And I believe it was Wendy Williams who was the first to get notice of this behavior and the FOs, because back in my day, the FOs were known as after parties, we didn't use that term. And something just tells me that I think the U.S. Attorney already may have a lot of witnesses in Sean's inner circle who should be charged, but probably will not, because they're willing, or they already have turned evidence against him. And more will be revealed, I think, probably later next year. when his trial begins. It's supposed to begin, I think, in March of 2025, but that could get postponed because I also said yesterday, expect superseding indictments, additional charges to be added that will prolong the start of Sean's trial.
That is correct. And I think that's why the experts are saying that this thing could not happen until perhaps the end of 2025. And I don't know. And maybe he'll surprise us and maybe he'll get sober somehow behind bars. But that's why the experts are saying that this thing could even take all the way to the end of 2025, because the lawyer himself said that the prosecutors have a lot of footage to download and get to him from all of these cell phones and clouds that they have evidence in. Dustin, your thoughts?
I said it yesterday and I'll say it again.
Well, hold on a second. Gavstar, talk to the people. Videos are not proof. And that's another thing they brought up today. He's saying it's consensual. They have to prove that it was not. Unless they show Diddy forcing them against their will. And I doubt videos will show this. Well, you talking. I'm glad you dropped by. You talking. It's like, take the emotions out of this, because nobody's saying here, I'm definitely not saying out of my mouth that this man should get, over with this. But there are a lot of people, we're hearing it, and Diddy labeled them FOs, right? But there are a lot of people that have orgies all day long. And in said orgies, the same things are involved. Substances, videotapes, and all kinds of crazy stuff. All kinds of crazy stuff. And this is going on in Hollywood. Diddy is not the only one that did it. What Diddy added to this situation was the violence. And so now they're doing the ST and all of that. Where am I at? Dustin, am I coming to you?
Yes. I still think that he's very guilty, in my opinion, Diva. And I think that he deserves everything he's getting thrown at the book, all these charges. And I think that it's all going to come to light one of these days. And we're going to be really surprised, Diva.
Thank you. E, you're up.
Well, I guess we'll just have to keep our eyes open. I mean, like you said, people engage in this type of activity daily. It's not the first time we've heard about these things, and they've been circulating drugs around for a long time. But, as it relates to Christine, she'll be fine. When people are tasked between seeing their family again or being stuck in Mrs. Ferguson's finishing school for girls, people find something to say to save their own skin.
Right.
And it's the flip of the coin. From what I've heard, Christine was responsible for interior decorating, maybe some hiring and firing, administering of some NDAs, and placing the order on Amazon for the lubrication. Maybe it's possible. I looked her up. She has a business degree and a minor in French. She has a background of working in the entertainment industry. So I don't think that any of these things were foreign or unusual to her, because there are a lot of things that go on behind the scenes in Hollywood and, LA, Miami, New York, you name it. And I'm assuming that she must have picked this task up once Cassie left, because this was Cassie's job first. And I don't want to muddy.
Ooh, come on, talk. Go ahead.
Well, I don't want to muddy the waters because Cassie said in her own words in her paperwork that she was tasked with the hiring of the males with humongous and gigantic man parts. And Cassie said in her own document, she was also responsible for securing the locations for the FO parties, not to be confused with FAO Swartz. And Christine is being labeled as a supervisor. I know that she was managing the business. She was reporting to Diddy just like Cassie was. Cassie was the manager too. She was responsible for recruiting and promotions, and she reported to Diddy. And like you said with Rodney, he came out, He said that the parties were so well known and sought after, all he had to do was walk in the club with the bad boy cap and people would chase him to get an invite. They knew what was up. They had the soldiers on the ground. It was the hottest ticket in town. Let them tell it. And if Cassie and Christine were managers, Young Miami was a supervisor too. Maybe even a district manager. I mean, she got the Carisha Please. She was making $300,000 a month or whatever the allowance amount was, allegedly. Miami was securing talent too. She advertised it on Twitter. And I think she even, and I'm going to use code words, I think she was going to report Gina, who I'll call her a team shift leader in the organization. I believe one of her disciplinary consequences would be to eat Miami's carpet. This was all documented. It was on Twitter. We talked about it here. They're all managers, which is just pimp talk. They're workers. And last thing, Diddy said Christine executes and she gets things done. But I am not going to throw Christine under the bus if we're not going to throw Miami under there too. If we're not going to throw Gina under there, Mary J. Blige, if we're not throwing Little Kim under there, Drea Michelle, Carucci, what's that lady's name? The Harvey who's not really a Harvey, Lori, her. That other one, that 50 Cent baby mama, the Joey Chavez, Bow Wow baby mama, Beyonce. No. If I'm not throwing Christine away until we get the other people first. And I think that Felicia said it best and really drove it home for me. 2 snaps for Miss Felicia. If you walked in and you served anybody at the party some cheese and crackers, you're vulnerable now. You're at risk. And if we're going for the house managers and if we're going down that rabbit hole, then we have to go after the doctors who are involved with treating these injuries and failing to report. The doctor who performed, I'll never forget when we read the Cassie suit and she mentioned that she had a breast augmentation and he didn't like it. And so within the same 24 hours, he made the doctor do it again and give her bigger CCs after she had just come out of the anesthesia. Like, come on, get the security guards, the plane pilots, the landscapers, the tailorists with the fashion. And we're talking about Don Machard's lawsuit. Get the stylists too, because there's so many people
that covered the bruises. Come on now.
If we're going down this road, we're going to be here for a while.
And we need to be. Because all this does is get transferred as something else. If I go to, what's the guy that recently died from Friends of an overdose? And now they're backing into the story with all the Matthew Perry. And now they're backing
Matthew Perry.
And now they're backing into all the doctors that were, in this thing. And what they don't want to name is they let that story just die. What they don't want to name is because they said a whole bunch of celebrities are on this list that the ketamine queen allegedly was supplying. So y'all rather hide the names instead of getting these people help and taking these doctors off the street. I need everybody to go down. I get it. You say, oh, we want the ringleader. Because you get rid of the ringleader, does that mean the party going to stop? No, it's not. They want to go knock on the door and see who else is running the next party. Because let's be clear, another party is still happening. Felicia, go ahead.
Diva, if I may help your statement, we heard today that there was a FO party in January after Cassie's suit dropped. Come on now. And the feds knew all about it.
Because what one lawyer said was, if y'all was really concerned about getting the garbage off the street, when y'all raided his home, and if y'all knew, actually, let me back it up like you said, Felicia. Y'all knew when Cassie sued, because Cassie, and go back to a lawsuit, this is not Diva putting 2110. Cassie said, I handed over tapes from the FO parties because my husband encouraged me to, even though it was me that was in there. So y'all, and then y'all come now with the same stuff that was in the Cassie lawsuit. So the lawyers are saying they should have been did it, because if he was so dangerous, so nasty, and y'all wanted him off the street, y'all allowed him to remain on the street 8 more months to abuse, have parties, and still do the same things that y'all now are saying he the devil for. Don't play in my face, because we want to sit here and break this thing down for real. And if y'all want to hang in there with us and hear it, then come on with it. All this, he's a monster, let him die in the jail. Listen, like I said, you do the crime, do the time, but let's bring everybody in to shut this thing down. You know how you shut Hollywood down? You let them know. See, it happened with Epstein, and Diddy continued his parties. Why? Because Epstein suffered solo. It happened with Weinstein. Who went down with Weinstein? No, Weinstein is going down solo, so they continue the parties. But you take everybody down, I bet you the next one will think twice, 3 times before they throw themselves a party that has a FO blueprint. But they continue it on. The abuse continues. The nonsense continues. Why? We need to shut Hollywood down. Bring them all down to the Southern District Courthouse. Because then I'm going to get on the New Jersey Transit and I'm going to sit in front of the court too and give me some footage. Bring them all down here. They acting like Diddy was the only one. He had mad celebrity friends. So we're going to say that not near one of these celebrity friends ever participated in the FO party. It's the lies for me. Mr. Hobson, you're up.
Man, this thing is like an onion. So many layers and layers and layers. It's like about the indictment. The indictment is just basically a breakdown of the actual charges. Like, wait for the actual complaint to come out. It's probably gonna come out by the end of this week. And I'm guessing, in my opinion, it's going to at least be probably like 100 pages or more of reading. That's when they're going to mention names like Christine, who, in my opinion, she's Diddy's Ghislaine Maxwell, but that's my opinion. But it's going to actually mention names of individuals. Apparently, they've interviewed over 54 individuals, and they're still interviewing people. Like, I honestly thought he was going to get bond. Like, I was actually saying earlier, like, okay, new judge, you may have a chance, but only because at the end of the day, I hate to bring this in the equation, but somehow money always circles back in the situation, if that makes sense. If anybody can understand that. Exactly. Perfect. So when I seen 50 put up, I'm like, okay, that was the first item in the bond proposal. 50 million put up. I'm thinking like, okay, that's big. Like, what court in my mind wouldn't want to hold on to 50? You know what I'm saying? Knowing under the bond conditions, if you F up and do anything on bond, we keep this 50. But then they added some extra things to the bond proposal, and then it got all rejected. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, they don't want you on the streets because they feel that you would either A, try to coerce, evidence tampering with, witness tampering, etc., or you might have possibly people already in play to do that for you. But then I was having a discussion with somebody earlier about, out of the top of my head, pre-preparation just came to my head. And I'm like, where did that come from, Walter? Pre-preparation. Like, in my mind, I think, in my opinion, I think that there was pre-prep. And sometimes my granddaddy always told me, sometimes you can talk too much and not talk enough. Like that attorney, I agree with everybody that said earlier, fire that man, pay him up for the lack of services he provided, and keep it moving and get new counsel. Because that is a perfect definition of what my granddaddy said. Sometimes you can talk too much and not talk enough. Like, to say, one, we knew this was going to happen. We've been down in New York since September 5th. Because at some point we knew that an indictment was coming down and that charges were following. Well, that's when in my mind, the word pre-prep just popped in my head. In my opinion, I believe, I think your attorney with his big mouth was correct. I believe prior to Cassie's lawsuit in November, I believe you knew and your team knew, my opinion, that the waters was about to get a little murky.
Mm-hmm.
Like giving you plenty of time to, start moving some assets. Just my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Put a little money in the Caymans over here, put a little bit of money over here. Like, I think we were shocked. It was a shock and awe for us when she filed the lawsuit. I mean, it was huge. And then you settled 24 hours later, I believe, like your attorney said, and he even said it on CNN last night, like, yeah, we knew this was happening. We knew it was going to come. Bottom line is, I said this in a video I did last night. Anybody that was inadvertently adjacent from the situation, around the corner, in the room, like Felicia said, in the corner, serving cheese and crackers, punch and juice or whatever, your best bet is to, hey, if you saw anything that was illegal, remotely illegal, don't look right to me, you gave it the side eye, kind of the side eye, you might as well tell the FBI. Because what you don't want is if they have an idea or if you are on their radar, they come knocking at your door because you don't want that smoke. Because like I said, he's going to keep appealing to try to get out of jail. I would. That's his constitutional right. Like, even though today the judge said no, they could file a motion and continue to file motions to get him out of jail. But the timeline they did mention and it's a federal case, yeah, because they're still doing discovery, they're still doing interviews, they're still gathering information and stuff. So they were saying about maybe him sitting down before a trial starts, 6 months to a year minimum. The feds move when they want to move, and they move at their own pace. So
even his lawyer said that.
Oh, child, fire him. That
he said we at their mercy. But did you want to say something? I'm gonna show a little something. But go ahead. Did you want to say something?
Yes, Diva. There was somebody in the comments, and they said, "Think about this is political season." And so, what's striking to me is I know that you and Felicia mentioned on yesterday about the pages and the we expected something a bit more robust. And so it is political season. And so we're thinking about, okay, well, what's the rush? Somebody has something that they're trying to prove. And they've been made to look incompetent and they've lost the confidence of the people. Somebody has a point to prove, and it's going to be at Diddy's expense. Should he be off the streets? Of course, but somebody else has another agenda to do it as well. And that comment, I believe it was from Nikki, made me think of that. So I just wanted to call attention to that. Thank you for that.
No, thank you, because that is facts too, right? They trying to prove something, and because everybody, it's like a group think, they call it, right? Everybody's repeating, when the feds come and they arrest you, it's airtight, blah, 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 blah. But you got lawyers, people that went to school for this. This was commentary I saw on the street today. Lawyers saying that indictment they gave us after all this time, they said make it make sense because it's not making sense right now. That they didn't have more oomph to it. What happened? I'm gonna let you speak. Give me 1 second, Felicia. What happened to all the underage kids?
Yeah, that's where I was gonna go.
What happened?
They didn't find any minors on this electronic tape.
And they got 90 phones, people. They got 90 phones. See, they was throwing all this salacious stuff. Even Dawn recently told us a busload came in. She said a busload came in of these kids, these people that look like they was minors, scantily dressed. Well, can I tell y'all something? When I'm roaming the streets and I see the people going out these days, don't nobody have on nothing anyway. When I go to see my dad, when I'm coming home, there's this club on the corner, they don't have on nothing, barely. I don't know if they drop something. I don't know how they pick it up. That's how short their skirts be. Going up in the club because everybody want to dress like the Instagram models and how they dressing in the videos. I saw a girl, she had boobs for days. Her bodysuit, the V came all the way down to her navel. I'm just like, how is she going to dance? So, but Dawn said a busload of people came off the bus scantily dressed. I don't know too many people now that go to the clubs, go to the parties, and they got on work clothes. I don't understand where they do that at. But again, they have all of these videos. We have yet to hear, because we hear about how he plied them with the drugs and the alcohol, but we did not hear not once that somebody in that video looked like they was passed out. And they applied with all of this stuff. Now the people said this ain't Diva saying this, but they said these FOs lasted for days. So you comatose getting it in for days? Go ahead, Felicia.
Thank you, Diva. I wanted to add too that Mark Agnifilo, Mr. Combs' attorney, said he went across the country interviewing these commercial ex-workers, and he said nobody was too high, or I don't know the language I should be using, but they seemed to be somewhat moderate, that no one was there against their will. That's what he said. And he said it was all consensual. And in fact, the woman, this was on CNN, she asked him, well, what about the women? He said there was no women that he had interviewed. It was all men. So they didn't see any minors on this electronic tape. So maybe we have to wait till the end of the week. But Diva's absolutely correct. Ms. Richard's complaint, she never said anybody gave her alcohol, made her do anything against her will. I don't know.
But let's add this, Felicia. She was actually able to go in a room and barricade herself in there.
Exactly. Yeah, she was. But her testimony was key in bringing Mr. Combs in on Monday. And it's going to be interesting because I believe some people were given immunity. And when I say that, I believe Cassie Ventura was one of them.
100%.
But I don't believe that this woman, Ms. Richard, was given immunity, yet they really valued her. And I believe they did so because she was the only person who gave a witness statement versus a complaint. So she said she saw some hot eggs being thrown at Miss Ventura, and that she saw her get punched in the gut at a party. So her role is as a witness. So if you were listening to Mr. Williams, he said, well, we got 50 people. And according to Mr. Agnifilo, that's 49 witnesses and 1 victim.
And the victim is Cassie, according to Diddy's lawyer. How about this 48 TCO, and how you doing? I believe everybody. But see, what the problem here is, tell us what the criminal charges are. Because the last time I heard people having sex, whether it's 2 people, 3, 4, 10, or whatever, if they're all consenting adults, where's the crime? Hold on one second, me having 22,000 bottles of lubricant in my house, where's the crime? Where's the crime? Now, me having these pow pals, and listen, they showed us the pow pals Diddy had, but can we be clear? Janie Mai, Jeezy had more than Diddy had. But Diddy was this enforcer who they all rolled around with these things, threatening people. But somehow Jeezy had more stuff and more arsenal in his house than they showed that they collected from Diddy. Listen, the child, you got to make this thing make sense. Go ahead, E, because I want to show a video. Tell me what you want to say.
Well, no, because each time I hear something, my mind goes to a different direction. Miss Felicia said something that made me think about something else. She said the lawyer went across the United States to interview these people. It was only male workers. So we knew that from what Cassie said, but we know that there were females there as well. So these were voluntary attendants then. When we're talking about these group sessions then, or unless it was just an all-male thing, but I don't think so because we know that there were women there. Dawn said that she saw what appeared to be young underage girls there. In Little Rodney's suit, he said the same thing. And the part I wanted to touch base on, because Miss Felicia was talking about the language. And Miss Felicia, when you said these were workers, content performers, and they were not under duress to be there. There was a something I saw a while ago where these performers say that when they go on set, sometimes they do indulge in extracurricular activities such as drugs or whatever their fancy is, because it takes their mind to another place and it makes the performance more exciting and more enjoyable. And so I saw somewhere in the comments where people said, well, Diddy's part was the violence and the drugs. I'm not going to even give him the drugs because people indulge in it without Diddy even being there. It's what he physically has done to restrict people from leaving, what he has done to physically aid people, and the word I'm looking for. Oh, Miss Felicia, the word I'm looking for, where he is using this information to blackmail, manipulate, and coerce people to engage in further activities under normal circumstances they would not.
Right. And they did talk about that too, E, right? And y'all gotta hold on. I need to show a video. Hold on one second. In 48, you talking about making the band, right? We could listen, we could dig deeper, do a deeper dive into this thing because there's so many spin-offs from this thing, right? So let me tell you something. You know, when it's these underage kids getting into these different scenarios, we got to start checking these parents. My kid ain't spending the night at nobody's house. My kid is not participating in a show, in a room or something, and they underage and I can't be in there because that's a red flag for me, and we don't need a nickel, dime, dollar that bad. If you follow me long enough, the reason why I keep letting people know that ain't nothing wrong with a studio apartment, because the bigger picture is if you can wrap your mind around that, you won't be out in the streets selling your soul to the devil so you can have a dream come true. No, I'm good over here. If my dream is delayed, I'm okay with that. But I'm not about to sacrifice my kid and myself for a nickel, dollar, or a dime. Not doing it. And I'm going to stand 10 toes down on this, and I don't care what anybody says. I promise you, if tomorrow they was to go work at Target and they did not get paid for 14 days, 30 days, 90 days, they wouldn't be there no more. But when it's Jay-Z or Diddy or 50 Cent or whoever, they're willing to work years and not get paid, all in the hope of what? So you could put me on. But then these same people will tell you that they believe in something bigger than themselves. It's all a contradiction of the words. I believe. So guess what? If I go to you and you seem to be the one in charge and I can sing and you no, I'm good. Not going to be here no 100 days and I still don't see no results. You stole from me in 2020. You stole from me in 2021. I didn't have to go to Harvard or Yale to come to the conclusion. Probably, you know what, in 2023, you're going to still steal from me. Now, let me show a video real quick. And y'all know that my prayers always goes out to the kids. I have so many up here. Which one did I want to show? I'm going to show a little bit of this because this is long. I'm not going to show too much of it.
Again, I want to show you the outside of the courthouse where we're waiting for Diddy's team to come out, or prosecutors to possibly come out and talk to reporters who are stationed outside of that New York courtroom after the judge just handed down this ruling. Now, we do have a lot more updates and even more questions that are going to be coming over the next few hours to see what this does mean for the music mogul. So I now want to bring into the conversation Nima Rahmani. He's a legal analyst who's been following this case very closely. Nima, first of all, were you surprised to see that this judge has decided to now deny bail for the second time for Diddy?
I wasn't surprised, Christina, and this is why. There's really two types of federal judges in criminal cases. There's a magistrate judge and there's the district judge. The district judge is a higher judge. He is going to be the judge that's actually presiding over Diddy's trial. But what a magistrate judge will do is make a recommendation when it comes to bond. And when criminal defendants appeal to that higher judge, it's not necessarily going to a higher court like the Second Circuit Court of Appeal. It's going to the judge who's actually going to hear the case. And that judge has to review the bail determination de novo. That's a Latin term that essentially means anew or for the first time. So they can't give any precedential impact to the lower judge's ruling. Now, why did the judge, in this case, Judge Carter, who's the district judge, decide to detain Diddy without bond? There's really two reasons why pretrial detention is appropriate. One, if an individual is a risk of flight, and two, if they're a danger to the community. Obviously, we're seeing the images, the drawings. There's no cameras allowed in federal court or even state courts in New York for that matter. So let's start with the risk of flight. I thought the defense did a very good job of saying that Diddy surrendered his passport to his lawyers. He told prosecutors where he would be whenever he left the state, if he's going from Los Angeles to Miami to Wyoming, wherever. They also put forward a very creative, I would say, bail package. Obviously, we all heard about the $50 million that would be secured by Diddy's Miami home. But they also offered the following. They offered a private FEMA security from Sage Consultants, which are all former law enforcement that would actually be at Diddy's home and monitoring everyone who comes in or out. They would have a guest log. Diddy wouldn't be allowed to have a phone or any internet access. They were actually offered to have cameras rolling 24/7 throughout the home, and they would provide that to the court. But ultimately, none of that mattered, and this is why. The judge ruled that Diddy was a danger to the community. And I think that ruling was based on two very important pieces of evidence. The first is the 2016 video of Diddy beating Cassie at the Intercontinental Hotel here in Los Angeles. We've all seen it. Very disturbing video. And the defense tried to argue that it was essentially a lover's quarrel, and there was a third person who was actually in the hotel room that evening. They were participating in one of these alleged freak-offs, and it was a jealous rage. But the judge wasn't having it. I mean, this was something that was very violent. Certainly, the judge wasn't buying that this was a one-off, because if you look at the allegations in the complaint, Diddy is alleged to have been violent and threatened others as well. But I think this is an important piece of evidence as well. I know we're waiting for the lawyers, so I want to make sure we get all this out. Diddy contacted some of the victims and some of the witnesses in the case after he became aware of the criminal investigation, maybe as early as January. That is considered improper. It may be obstruction of justice. It may be considered witness tampering. And there's at least one instance where phone records show that he contacted or tried to contact a witness more than 100 times. And I think, Christina, that's the reason why the judge denied bail in this case.
I mean, I think that was the thing that a lot of us saw that stuck out. Over 100 times trying to contact a witness after you know the federal government is already looking into you. Can you sort of explain maybe what those calls might have been like from the prosecutor's side saying, hey, this is definitely improper for him to be doing this now knowing that he is under investigation?
And apparently some of those calls may have been recorded. So this is why it's improper. We know the defense's really only defense in this case is that this sexual conduct was.
So apparently some of those phone calls may have been recorded. So that means Kalani Harper was already probably a witness for the prosecution, and they had her phone tapped or something like that. How else would these phone calls be recorded? Unless he left a message. But I'm thinking he actually spoke to her. He sunk himself in a lot of ways. So as he's sitting in that hell on earth detention center, he need to think about what he did to himself. Let's continue.
Was consensual. When you're talking about rape, sexual assault, sex trafficking, the government has to prove force, fraud, or some other type of duress or coercion. So even if it's a freak off, if it's consenting sexual contact between adults, no force, no money being exchanged, there's no commercial activity, that may be okay. So if Diddy's defending the case, he can only defend it in a couple of ways. You can say that the contact never happened. Well, that's not going to work because there's videos and apparently a lot of witnesses to these freak-offs. The second, you could say it wasn't me. Again, not going to work in this case. So his real only legal defense here is that the contact, what happened, the sexual activity was consensual. And apparently, according to the government, Christina, Diddy was trying to convince the victims, the witnesses in this case, to tell people that this was all consensual. So that's considered to be improper. That's considered tampering or maybe impeding an investigation or dissuading a witness, either offering them something of value or even threatening them. And I think that's the thing the judge took issue with. And he asked the defense point blank, well, if your client knew he was under investigation, why is he contacting the witnesses? And I don't think the defense had a good answer for that.
And moving forward, we know the defense has a long road ahead of them. What maybe is their process to try to combat what the prosecution is going to be throwing at them? Because the prosecution has already said, hey, we have at least 50 witnesses that are willing to take the stand in this case, or maybe are going to be subpoenaed to take the stand in this case. So the prosecution's path forward, what is the defense path forward for the next few months as Diddy now remains behind bars?
The prosecution is going to focus on two important categories of evidence. The first is the video, and that is by far and away the most powerful evidence because, Christina, people can lie, witnesses can lie, but video doesn't lie. And that video was so powerful, let's not forget, from the time Cassie first filed a lawsuit in November 2023 to the time that that video was released in May, for 6 months, despite the raids in LA and Miami, Diddy, through his lawyers, denied everything. He said this was all a money grab by people that were trying to shake him down and extort him and get money. Well, guess what? After that video became public, all of a sudden, Diddy gives this sort of half-hearted apology, said he's trying to get therapy and work on himself because he knows, and his lawyers and his PR team know, that that video speaks for itself. But there's more video than that, apparently. And we know that because if you believe Cassie's civil complaint, and if you listen to U.S. Attorney Damian Williams yesterday, he said there's other videos, and it could be the cameras throughout Diddy's homes. We know he reportedly had hidden cameras, but importantly, Cassie said that Diddy videotaped these sex acts. So if there's video recordings of the free.
So Cassie knew that these acts were being videotaped. Remember, in her own lawsuit, she went and got people too. But let's continue.
Freak-offs. That's going to be incredibly powerful evidence for prosecutors and for the jurors to consider. The other category of evidence, of course, is the witness testimony. And it could be victims, and some of which have filed civil lawsuits. We know there's at least 8 or 9 civil lawsuits against Diddy. And I know Diddy's legal team is going to argue that this is just all about money and it's all fabricated. And sometimes jurors have a tough time believing the testimony of one victim. They could say it's a he said, she said type situation. But when victim after victim comes forward and tells the same story of physical and sexual violence, that's very hard for a defense team, even if you have the best defense lawyers in the world, to overcome, because one victim may lie, but multiple victims telling the same story usually do not. So the defense is really going to have its hands full in this case.
And lastly, I want to just touch on one more point with the witnesses. You said that now that we know Diddy is locked up, do we feel that more people are going to come forward with their stories? And does this still open the door for more charges? Of course, we know he's facing multiple and sex trafficking and kidnapping, but potentially there could be more potentially here if more witnesses decide that they want to make their voices heard.
Absolutely. We knew that Cassie was essentially a Me Too type witness, right? She was Diddy's girlfriend of more than a decade when she came forward. That opened the floodgates. But there have to be individuals that are concerned about their safety. I mean, Diddy reportedly threatened many of them and sometimes coerced them by, holding their music career over their head. But now that Diddy is going to be locked up pending trial, and we know that trial is going to be months, maybe a year or more away, that may encourage others to come forward. They may feel safe. And it's not just additional charges against Diddy. There might be other victims. Only one is identified with any real specificity in the indictment. We talked about gun charges. There was a number of AR-15s that had an obliterated serial number that could be added on. But really what I'm looking for is charges against other people. I don't believe for a second that it was just Diddy that participated in these sex acts. There are a lot of rumors that are floating out there. I don't want to name any names, but if you were a celebrity here in Hollywood and you participated in these freak-offs, whether it was in Miami or New York or LA, and these were victims who were being forced to do this against their will, you should be very afraid. You should have a lawyer. And I hope and expect those individuals will be charged and brought to justice. And we don't have another Jeff Epstein type situation where.
Here you got a man, not Diva, saying, bring the others in. He telling others, lawyer up. Okay, let's continue.
The victims of these horrific sex crimes are left without getting the justice that they deserve.
And Nima, thank you. I do want to turn your attention to your screen here. You can see that was Diddy's family walking out of the courthouse. We saw his sons, Christian Combs and Justin Combs, just take their walk out of the courthouse and down the steps, presumably leaving. None of them stepped up to that microphone where this podium is placed outside of the courthouse, as we're anticipating and hoping for to hear from either prosecutors or the defense team step up to the mic following this bail hearing where he was denied bail. But again, his family just came out of the courthouse. And Nima, since I have you, I do want to ask you a question about the family. They've been in court showing their support. Does this sometimes impact a judge's decision to deny bail or to allow bail in cases like this? But as we can see, it was still denied.
It does affect a judge's decision. And oftentimes in federal cases, when there's bail, it's a little different than state court. State court, you'll have a bail bondsman or bondsperson. You know, he or she will post the amount of the bond. The defendant might post a percentage, 5 to 10%. But really, it's up to the bondsman to ensure that the defendant makes his or her appearances in court. But that's not how it works in the federal system. You'll have a bond that's secured by property, but oftentimes you'll have a signature bond and you'll need what's called sureties. Those are responsible adults, oftentimes family members, that the court will interview, and they'll actually sign and say, Your Honor, we're going to put ourselves out there and we're going to ensure that this individual, a friend, a family member, makes his appearances in court. So that's something that's certainly very important. A judge does consider when deciding whether bail is appropriate or not. And it can also affect jurors during the criminal trial. I mean, criminal defendants that have no family support, especially when you're talking about sex crimes, that's really a red flag. And even though jurors are supposed to base the case and their decision solely on the facts and the law and the witness testimony, jurors are ordinary people, and that's something that they think about. Why doesn't this individual have any family support?
Certainly. And we, of course, know that other than just being a music mogul, Diddy is also a father, a brother. He's always talked about his relationship as well with his mom. So very strong family ties there for Diddy. We'll continue to watch how this case is unfolding. Nima Rahmani giving us just a breakdown of what happened today in the courtroom and what is potentially to come. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Christina. I'm sure we'll be talking about this real soon.
I'm certain that we will. Look out for your phone for us to give you a call. But it does appear now that we are seeing his attorney step up to the mic. Let's listen in here on Live Now.
Okay, I'm available.
We're not giving up by a long shot. I told Mr. Combs I'm going to try and get his case to trial as quickly as possible. I'm going to try and minimize the amount of time he spends in very, very difficult and I believe inhumane housing conditions in the special housing unit of the Metropolitan Detention Facility. And I'm going to do everything that I can to move his case as quickly as possible. I understand that the government has a great amount of electronic devices that they have to download and provide to me. But everything's on the government's timetable. Nothing's on the defendant's timetable. And they're going to have to accommodate me and him and give us a quick trial. And I'm going to be pushing for that. He's ready. He's focused. He has been ready to defend this case since he first found out about this case. Nothing has changed from his perspective. I obviously would much prefer to fight this case with him out of jail, and we are going to try to bring that about through additional legal process. But wherever he is, his resolve is the same. He believes he's innocent. I believe he's innocent, and we're going to fight this case with all of our might until we don't have to fight any longer. I'm not really going to take any questions, but at this point, we are moving forward. We're preparing for trial as we speak, and we are considering our next steps and appealing the court's ruling from today. All right. Thank you all very much. I really appreciate it. He's doing good. Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. I'll do that. So in the past, Essex County, New Jersey, it's a county facility, but it has a contract with the federal government, and you can get certain number of federal inmates in Essex County, New Jersey. And in my experience, it's an easier place to deal with. I think it's better for the person being housed there, and it's easier to get access, to him. I mean, one of the hardest things when you're preparing for a very significant trial with a great deal of discovery is you want your client to be able to have access to, the electronic discovery. Nothing nowadays is in paper form. Everything's electronic. So you need to make sure that your client has access to a computer, and then it can look at the discovery, that comes in. So that was my idea. All right. I'm going to go. Thank you. It's good. Thank you.
He's not good, sir. He's in the
All right, you're just listening in there to Diddy's lawyer stepping out of the courtroom after Diddy was denied bail in this case. You heard him say he's not going to really answer any questions, but he did give some details about where Diddy is potentially being.
So let me just say this. If you look at Diddy's lawyer on day one, I don't have time to show you all the videos. We'll be here till tomorrow. And you see him in that video there. He has big bags underneath his eyes. This lawyer was not ready. They took him out in just this 2 days. Is this man going to be ready for the long haul that's ahead of him? He needs to get more people on this team. Diddy better wake up and do like what's the guy named OJ Simpson. He need a whole team, because this guy is not going to be able to do it. He can't handle it. He cannot handle it whatsoever. I mean, the bags under his eyes. I said he not ready. And let me just 1 second. I'm just going to show you something else really quickly. This is the kids. Pray for the kids, everybody. 35 seconds. This is the kids. Justin Combs, that's his girlfriend. That's Christian Combs. That's Christian Maxwell.
Is your mother a flight risk?
You guys look great. You got the fashion moment. You look fantastic. I pray for y'all for all the mistakes. One of them is gay anyway, so it's like it is what it is.
Christian Combs is broken because he is definitely his father's twin. And they really did not expect this thing to go this way. And I think that is what the shocker is for this family. This right here is he's in the Metropolitan Detention Center. Conditions were worse than initially reported by New York City. We're just going to look at a little bit. They call this place hell on earth.
Inside of the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn during a 7-day power outage that caused protest and outrage by elected officials because of the cold temperatures and lack of heat were much worse than initially reported, according to new reporting by the New York Times. The accounts, according to the Times, are based on inmates, their defense lawyers, jail staff, union officials, and lawmakers. The report indicates inmates complained of cold, brackish water that ran from the taps. A client known to swallow razor blades said he had not gotten his psychiatric drugs. In another cell, a man lay on bloody sheets. That man had an infection on his leg, according to the Times, that got worse during the blackout. Allegedly, he had been denied antibiotics and Tylenol by jail staff. He was told to wash the wound with soap and water. The warden at the jail, which houses some 1,600 inmates, Mr. Herman Quay, has also been heavily criticized as dismissive and having a lack of urgency by lawmakers, activists, and even his own staff. According to the Times, union officials say Mr. Quay failed to set up an emergency command center or give staff instructions other than to keep inmates locked up. At one point, conditions were so bad that one inmate told his family a correction officer opened his cell door, allowing him into the warmer common area. I don't know what's going on here, the guard told him, but this is inhumane. Now, the Justice Department has an ongoing investigation into what happened, but so far the warden hasn't been officially reprimanded and there have been no changes inside of MDC. It's almost as if that blackout never happened.
In the subculture of jails and prisons.
Very sad. And then, like I said, that place is called hell on earth. I've always said over here that when someone goes to jail, that is the punishment. To me, I don't think it's right. No matter what your crime is, when the judge hit the gavel and the jury found you guilty and they give you your sentence, that is your punishment for your crime, your sentence. I don't think you should be in jail, being mistreated, being awed, being all of that. I do not believe in that. That's me personally. I'm giving everybody 60 seconds, please, because we're in overtime. Final thoughts, Katrina. Okay, we might have lost Katrina. It was a long day. Savannah, final thoughts.
I just think we're at the beginning of this story, and there's so much more to come, and we're all going to continuously be shocked and in our emotions. So I just think we're at the beginning.
We most certainly are. I appreciate you. Felicia, your final thoughts.
I believe in fair and equitable justice, whether it's economic justice, social justice, criminal justice, and I want it for everyone. And I don't believe this is what we're looking at right now. So maybe the prosecutor will get a little bit more confidence and not just be going on the salaciousness of what's going on. And I agree with Mr. Hobson, although he left, that Mr. Combs will have new attorneys. This isn't working out for him. All right, I'm done.
Appreciate it. Tay, final thoughts.
The list is going to be a very long list. After he gonna fire his turnkey, all the proof that he gonna have for him. I say I don't feel bad for D at all. You brought this to yourself, my guy. You brought this to yourself. Like I said last night, Diva. Good luck, Diddy. Also, Visa. That's all, Diva.
Thank you. Tony, final thoughts.
Well, you could look at this two ways. Maybe there is a little bit of karma coming to Sean's way by going to the detention on the hell on earth detention. So maybe now he'll start to wake up and start to see the magnitude and the reality. Because remember, 2 days prior, Sean and his sons were partying like it was 1999. That's not the way to behave when you're facing criminal charges like this. It's inappropriate. It's not proper. But we need to give the process just that, the due process time. And you're going to see a lot of twists and turns before we finally get to trial. That's all.
Thank you. Dustin, final thoughts.
Well, this is an emotional story for me because I have shared my story up plenty of times, and I feel bad for the kids because them kids are gonna have the rest of their life or a big part of their life without their dad, and it breaks me. It breaks my heart, David, to see this happen. But it needed to happen. But it still breaks my heart for the kids.
Thank you, Dustin. Julia's final thoughts.
This is just one step in a very long process. We've been screaming Diddy needs to be held accountable for so long, even before Cassie's lawsuit. We've been screaming this. Now he's in the very deep early stages of starting to be held accountable. We have to watch how this case plays out, and we have to hear more of an expansion on what it is that the government has found. They cannot play their hand at once. We know this. So we have to take it one step at a time.
Appreciate you. E, your final thoughts?
Yeah, let's keep the girls in our prayers for sure. As far as those grown men, that Christian, he has cases that are still pending as well. And Justin, don't know too much about him, but no, let's keep the girls in our prayers. But the sons, if they have been participating, let justice let her work her magic. Choo choo.
Appreciate you. Thank you. Listen, guys, we're in overtime, but I appreciate y'all for being here. If you didn't hit the like button on the way in, hit the like button on the way out. I will say this is a serious case, serious charges. I think everybody involved all across the board is a tragic situation, but it is an indication of how sinister the entertainment industry is. And I think that, yes, we keep arresting these individual gatekeepers, so to speak, if they want to call them the gatekeepers, right? We saw it with Epstein. We saw it with Weinstein. People claim that Weinstein made them do sinister things to get movie parts and then was making the people, because his wife was a designer, wear her designs on the red carpet. This thing, as much as they want Diddy to go down, and I'm not saying that I don't, is bigger than Diddy. This is going to continue to go on where artists are going to get taken advantage of because everybody hushes their mouth. We need, if we're going to bust this thing open, let's bust it open. Let's crack it open. Let's take everybody down so that future people in this industry will know that, you know what? You want to mess around? Let this case be the precedent. Remember Diddy case where they took everybody down. People got desensitized because they kept promising us the black book when it came to Epstein. We never saw it. We never saw it. You got Weinstein. Never saw the other individuals. It's just nothing. Now you got Diddy. And they keep throwing the smoke screens out us, right? But no, you heard the legal experts say it. You heard me say it. You heard some of my panelists say it. We're saying get Diddy and get the rest of them too. Good night and goodbye, everybody. I appreciate y'all for spending time with me.